Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. We're going to continue our space survival adventure by finishing off this ship. Alright, so the ship is nearly complete. You already saw the inside of the hangar, but you haven't seen the rest, which is the thrusters and some extra designs. So here is the ship with all the thrusters, extra designs, turrets, missile turrets, and so forth. So I think it's pretty much complete. I don't know if it flies because I haven't tried it yet. And there's a lot more things I need to program and design and paint, but that is going to come later. So yeah, adding the thrusters was a bit of a pain because I had to find spots for them to make it look decent and not look too out of place. And I tried to put large thrusters on the sides, which didn't really turn out too well, so I did have to change some things up a bit. As I mentioned before, you've already seen the inside here in the hangar. We did make some changes, so you'll see a little bit of some conveyor tubes, some plumbing that's been done for the turrets itself, and everything else in terms of thrusters, hydrogen thrusters especially, have been plumbed as good as much as possible. It's not the best plumbing job ever, but it will do for now. So we can start first by looking at the little modular ship here. So the modular ship here is the kind of like the wing side of the system, and that is connected, as you probably saw earlier, by merge blocks. So the merge blocks here is connected to make sure this can be an acting thruster for the ship itself, but it can also detach. And I put a connector here only to connect it so that it could get hydrogen and any other materials that it needs. And this little modular ship, again, I haven't tried flying it at all, but I would assume it would be perfectly fine, since it's a fairly small build that has, every direction that you need for thrusters, basically. There's a chance that it may need more upward thrusters, but I think this should be more than fine for now. So it's lacking a little bit of design. But in the front, you have the backwards thruster, you have a window and a seat here, and here's another window on this side, a door, and the back has the 5 other thrusters, so you have upwards, downwards, left and right, and forwards. And then of course, we add a little bit door here, so we can get inside. So inside, you have a battery, a gyroscope, back here you have a cargo container, an air vent here for oxygen. Behind it is going to be an O2 H2 generator and also a hydrogen tank with the thrusters. Alright, so if we go into spectating mode, you'll see the O2 H2 generators here and a hydrogen tank and the thrusters connected all to it. So that's pretty much what's inside. It's a very simple ship. I could add a little more if I wanted to, but not much to do now. I just want to make sure it's airtight, which it should be. Here we go. So that's airtight, closing this door and that door. It's a bit dark in here. I forgot to put lights, so I'll do that in a little bit. And then we have the windows here, which looks a little bit of a different design. And of course, we have the control seat here, which I'm pretty sure I didn't put any programming in it just yet. So what I need to do is make sure the merge blocks can disconnect and the connector can disconnect too. So that's the tiny ship. I could do a lot more if I wanted to, but I'll leave it like this for now. Didn't want to work on the design. I want to finish the ship up as much as possible. So here is the connecting points with the merge blocks. Alright, so here is the rear section of the ship. And here is a lot going on. So we have some steps going into the modular ship on the sides. And we could go all the way down. And everything is pretty much plumbed up. This part is the back side. So if we go outside, let me show you guys. That's the back side there, and everything again is plumbed up as much as possible. So, I mean, some things has been over engineered or overplaced or over plumbed, but that was kind of the point, just to make sure if there's any breaking points that it'll be nice and secure. And that doesn't look right, which we're gonna have to fix. You would think somebody else probably built my ship for me with that kind of mistake, but yeah, that was my own fault. Anyway, so everything is plumbed up in the back. Most of these are hydrogen thrusters. That's why they're plumbed this way. So if you saw on the back side, and I'll show you again later, they're all on different levels. So that's why they're kind of plumbed this way. And in the back here, we have jump drives. So we have 1, 2, 3 jump drives set up in the back because this ship is extremely heavy. So putting 3 will make it a lot quicker instead of having 1, which probably would move us just a tiny bit in space. But again, I haven't tested any of this, so who knows if it's going to work properly or not. All the plumbing should be fine, but I just got to turn them on to kind of test to see if any hydrogen will flow through the system. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So all the plumbing, again, it's on the back rear hydrogen thrusters, all connected to these hydrogen tanks here. I put 6 total, 3 on each side, on top of this O2H2 generators to make some hydrogen. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 total to produce hydrogen. I could probably use a little bit more, but we'll just leave it as that. And it connects to the second floor. So walking up these steps, which is a little bit of a spirally step here, just to make everything look nice. Put a PPG symbols on the sides for fun. And here is where the magic happens in terms of energy, refining, and assembling and producing stuff. So we have refineries here, we have assemblers up here with mods connected, and we have 3 large cargo containers right here, and we have an air vent system right here along with 6 gyroscopes on this side. And to make things symmetrical, I did the same thing on the other side, to be honest. So we have a total of 6 large cargo containers, 10 gyroscopes, and more air vents, and also another large reactor here, along with the refinery and assemblers, of course. And of course, we're gonna go up the steps to the 3rd floor, which is the bridge section. And you'll see there's a medical bay with a whole bunch of batteries here. So it's actually double layers. So there's one in the back, one in the front. So we have 14, so that's 7 on each row, and 1 in the back. So that's 14 there, another 14 on this side, just to make things, again, symmetrical. So 28 and another medical bay here, just to make things look nice. Alright, so I could do a lot more here, but I did a little bit of designing in the back here, which looks okay. Upstairs, I can probably put a little bit more design to it, but we'll leave it as that for now. And something new is this guy, which I took from the Wasteland's new scenario, which is the scrap race that I saw behind a bar. So I borrowed him and placed him into my ship just to have some company, because I will likely be very alone in this space adventure. So I was thinking of creating another one and coloring it up a little bit, maybe put on in this seat, but who knows. I always reserve a seat just for Don, just in case he feels like joining us. Alright, so let's head outside. So right now, the ship is still connected to the old ship here. It's connected by these blocks, and I also plumbed it together so I can move parts, take all the hydrogen, and so forth. But in the back, that's where I spent a lot of time on, and that's with the thrusters. So back here, you're going to see a whole bunch of large hydrogen thrusters. So you have 6 on this side and 6 on the other side to go forward. We have a whole bunch of iron thrusters, which is the large ones, and that's going to pull, it's going to be used more in space than anything else. And then back here, we have 4 going upwards just to give it some more oomph, basically. Because we're going to need a lot for upwards thrusting, especially when we're in a planet like the alien planet. So these aren't the only thrusters going outwards. I put a whole bunch on the bottom, actually. So you'll see down here, you have a big strip of hydrogen and iron thrusters down here on both sides. So I kind of just put a little bit of a design to it, just to put a curve to make it look decent. And that's how much thrusters I put here, which should pick up the ship, but I'm not 100% sure. It needs to be tested. And other thrusters I put in the front is for our backwards thrusters. So I put a whole bunch of them here on this side, and of course with everything symmetrical, some on this side, and you'll see the big one on the side here and on the other side as well. And the iron thrusting ones, or iron thruster ones, will be in the front there. And I also put thrusters up here for the downwards thrust. It is blocking the window just a little bit, but it's okay for the most part. We have 4 on each side, as you see here. and also 4 iron thrusters on that side too. So pretty much the only thing I wish I could do is put more large hydrogen thrusters for sideways, left and right, but I couldn't find a good way to do it. So I decided to put a whole bunch of them on the side like this. And it should work fine. If not, I'll probably make a longer strip of them. And this design is a similar design from the old ship. So a lot of characteristics of the big ship has actually been taken from the old ship, but making it into a very, very spacious ship, basically. And of course, these modular ones help with the thrusting, but once it's disconnected, I'm not sure how that's gonna work. And then the last thing I did was plop on these turrets, missile turrets on all sides. I try to protect the ship as much as possible without ruining the design. It kind of already ruins the design having them here. It just doesn't look clean, but we're gonna need it, especially if we're gonna move on to our space adventure and do some crazy stuff like fight NPCs and things like that. So I'll just leave this as is. Oh, and I definitely forgot about putting decoys up so it could not target our thrusters and target something else. So this is pretty much the ship, the design. Again, everything's plumbed up as much as possible. I did add some turrets in the back, interior turrets in the back to protect the rear, just in case. And I plumbed up everything from what you saw in the back and also from the side walls. So within the ship, there's actually a hidden wall here. And that is plumbed up from the front all the way to the back, as you can see. And I mean, it's poorly done because I can't get through most of this. So you can just walk in and out of the wall here and into the doors. You'll see this. This is the turrets. And I believe back here is the hydrogen thrusters. Up there is the turrets on the roof. So everything is plumbed the easiest way possible that I can think of. There are a lot of weak points, as you can see. So if something like this is knocked off, then this whole side will not get any hydrogen. But it is for the way it is for now until I can get in there and clean it up. But I want to get this done as soon as possible. And if you probably saw it when I hit that tab, you'll see on the bottom left on my HUD, you see some kind of icon. And that is our shield for the ship, basically. So that's the shield emitter, which is a mod that's been installed. I've had it always installed, but I was always chasing to get the parts and put the shield on this ship. But I saved those parts and resources and I put on this large ship. So you put the shield emitter there or anywhere on the ship, and then you have the control in anywhere else, which is this guy here, which is pretty cool. And it shows you the ship's options and the name of it, frequencies, and other options here. Honestly, I got to do a little more research on how this really works, but I left it kind of on default. I just played around with some animations for now, but I think this will protect the ship as much as possible with the shield. So if we go outside, what I've been doing is pretty much shoot my own ship, and I'm outside of the shield, so you can tell if you're inside and outside by going into it. You see the icon on the bottom left on the HUD. So once I'm outside, I can shoot my ship, and you'll see this little flash of a white thing there, which is the shield. And it has a spherical shape to it in a way, or an oval shape to it in a way. And because this ship is connected to that, it's quite long, and it's probably draining a lot of energy, but it's fine because with scarce resources, uranium is found here on the alien planet, which I need to go use my truck and mine some soon. But the next step here is going to have to charge up all the hydrogen tanks so we can use our hydrogen thrusters and transfer all the goods from this ship into that one, especially its own parts. So as you see here, most of the parts, like the thrusters, are gone. It's because I transferred all my parts, or used most of those parts, to make all of these, which luckily I had a whole bunch of cobalt left, so I made a whole bunch of metal grids so I can make all these large hydrogen thrusters. If I didn't, I would have probably be screwed and have to go fly this ship over to Earth, grab some more cobalt, and make it back here to finish the ship. So that luckily didn't have to happen, And I have a nice big ship that probably needs a new color scheme than a dark clean armor skin. So right now I'm not gonna take apart my ship just yet because I want to make sure all the parts are transferred over, and I don't have a decent spot or a connector for this large ship, to be honest. So ideally what I was going to do is make smaller ships to dock in the front to collect stuff, such as ice and all that stuff. So I'm not going to do that now, only because I have things connected so far. So what I'm going to do is grab my truck, and it has a connector end there, which is going to connect to the rear end of this ship, and transfer ice through this way. So hopefully that works out, and let's see what happens. But I think I need to remove this because it's gonna be in the way, since I don't know if that thing could even fly. Oh, if you're wondering what this hoe is, I created a whole drilling system to drill down with rotors, and then a hinge system to sweep it, and then I broke it eventually, but it was just to get extra parts like steel plates, iron, and stuff, just so we can, you know, finish up the ship basically. So let me get rid of this thing here, and then we'll put the truck there. So the best thing to do is probably grab my modular ship, unlock the connector, turn on the thrusters, and fly off. Alright, so here's my modular ship. I'm gonna go onto my little tiny grinder modular part of it. Not really tiny, but yeah. Oh, let me turn on the merge block, and I made this a little bit too tight, so it has to be kind of perfect to kind of land in there, which is a bit rough. But once we get in there, we can just push out something like so, get it merged, lock that up. We're gonna now take this ship and pretty much grind everything down basically. Ooh. Okay. So this thing didn't have a lot of backwards thrusters or something? Or was it off? Oh, it was off. Jeez. So with all these settings messing around, it was off, and I couldn't stop myself well enough, but we can always make another grinder. Alright. So we got ourselves a new grinder. We'll just hop back in. Should be okay now. And we're pretty much just going to grind down everything as quickly as possible so that we can put our truck connected to the smaller ship that's connected to the large ship, basically. Alright, that's all done. Grind down this whole platform there. Made a little bit of a mess, blew things up, and I think I dropped some parts. So I'll grab those. Alright. And now I gotta move this guy off too, because it needs the connector with the truck there. I'm actually gonna put this outside. Like so. And if we turn off the thrusters so that we don't waste too much energy. And I can reserve these guys and put it in my ship in the front. So that's the good thing. Looks like I'm gonna be wasting this, except I can grab the magazines. Do I have like gravitational pull or something? Why does it start coming towards me? And this guy's a lost cause unless I push it out, which I probably can do. Probably won't want to worry about that too much right now. But now I gotta get into the truck and connect it to that connector that's going to be on that ship. To do so, it's gonna be a bit of a struggle because it's been a while since I actually used this truck. So I'm not too sure about the controls. So you know what? Let me just back up just a tiny bit and let's see how this works. So from what I recall, one is that, yeah, so I have a good idea of it, and I think my 7, 8, and 9 is what stops it. Okay, so there's some locks to it. Okay, perfect. So let's stretch that one out and this one out. So we just gotta go to good height and pretty much stop it from there. So let me hold off on the middle section. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, let's just leave. Hopefully it's gonna get high enough before it breaks anything. Let me stop this one. Let's have it go straight for now. I think we get... Alright, that looks good. So now we can bring this one down a little bit. And even that one out some more. And I think that matches. I have no idea what I'm doing, but yeah, I know I made the setup for the ship, but yeah, it's a little bit complicated because we're doing hinge locks and stuff. Okay, so we're pretty much on target. I wish I have a camera there, which I could probably just put on, but not gonna worry too much about that right now. Here, we're just gonna have to slowly push ourselves forward and hope we don't break anything. Stop. Just a little bit, just a hair. There. So we need our connector, which is that. Done. Perfect. Awesome. So now we have the truck connected to the ship because this truck itself has a whole bunch of ice that we haven't used yet. So transferring all this and turning and stockpiling my hydrogen tanks here will get all the power it needs for its thrusters. So what I actually am going to do is go to my tanks and pretty much put them on stockpile. So I'm not sure which is which, or if I even need to do something like that, but I probably should. So let me just deal with that really quickly I probably have to do them one by one because I haven't named any of them. And I should probably name them as well. Alright, there we go. So we have our hydrogen tanks on stockpile, so we can grab all the hydrogen that we can use throughout that ship into this ship. I probably do need to set up the ones back here, but I don't know which tank those are, which is perfectly fine. We'll leave it as is. And what we need to do is also deplete the batteries on this ship. So unfortunately, not naming things is going to be a little bit more difficult. So we're going to have to kind of do them one by one and just, you know, discharge whatever we can basically. Alright, so it looks like I got to slowly dismantle the ship a bit. And that way we can transfer the parts over to the other side. And then we will have just one solo thing going on. So I do wish my grinder was a little bit faster because it did take forever just to grind on that platform. So I might see what I can do to increase the speed. I probably just need a lot more grinders to do so actually. But for the most part, I think putting the ice here will generate our hydrogen that we need so we can test the flight. But we'll just continue to pass along the ice for the hydrogen, and then we should be able to fly this guy, hopefully, and then get our truck to mine some uranium because we have two large reactors that is a bit hungry for some uranium. So maybe I can put the truck in here somehow. Haven't really thought about that, but yeah, so pretty much what I gotta do is just grind this thing down as much as possible, and then we can do a flight test. But that's likely going to be the next episode. If it goes well, perfect. If it goes bad, we're gonna have to engineer it a little bit better. But I would think we have more than enough thrusters to really fly it. So I guess we'll just stand by and see what happens next time. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that walkthrough of the very large ship that is more ship than I need by myself, but it came out pretty nice. So I think I need to refine the design a little bit more, and we should do the flight test on the next episode. Alright, so I want to pause here really quickly to say thank you so much for everybody's support by continuing to watch all our videos here on the Pandemic Playground channel. As always, you guys know what to do. Continue to hit that thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to our channel, leave us some comments, and along with my robot buddy here, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.